Okay, so this video is just for turning on the Epson. Um, this Epson was made to print a full range of color. That's not how we use it though. So if you look at these huge cartridges, you got 4 on this side and 4 on this side. We still have a few leftover color ink cartridges. So you see the saturated cyan, the saturated magenta, and the saturated yellow. But if you look over here, you'll notice these are not quite right. They might be labeled according to this kind of stuff, but clearly these 3 cartridges are different than that one. And what's going on here is we're using a third-party provider both for the black ink and for these. But the printer won't run unless there's a cartridge in here. Now we're only using this to print film positives. So we don't need cyan, magenta, and yellow or any of these. All we really need is the black. But the printer won't run unless there's physically the right cartridge in each of these slots. So these black ones here are actually nothing but liquid that is pigmentless. It's basically like a sort of inkjet medium with no colorant or pigment whatsoever. But without a cartridge with a liquid in it, the Epson won't run. Now, because this is not an Epson brand, the Epson printer knows this and recognizes that, hey, you're trying to put another company's cartridge into my printer slot. And it doesn't want to do that. So what this video will show you is how to bypass that when you turn it on. And you have to do this every time you turn it on. So this is your on button right here. So I'm going to hit that. As it turns on, you'll get this, says please wait. It's going to take a few minutes. You'll hear it. It's checking out its various components, making sure everything's working. It's checking on its roll feed. It's checking the scissors or the blade that's going to trim it as it's done printing. So I have to wait for this to cycle through and complete. And when that's all done, it will settle on this scary looking message that says that we don't have genuine cartridges inserted or something like that. There it is. So it says non-genuine, but notice on the upper right there we have a down arrow. That's because it can only show you one little bit of text at a time, and you have to click the down arrow to see the rest. So it says non-genuine cartridge, exclamation point, may, down, not perform at, down, optimum, down, continue, question mark, down, yes or no. And so now I have, for yes, I have the left arrow, and for no, I have the right arrow. So don't do no, just hit yes, there. And then it says damage from, down arrow, cartridge is not warranted, down, do you accept this, exclamation or question mark, it's freaking hilarious, down, accept, decline, so we accept. So then it's done. It says please wait. So that takes just a moment, and then it should be ready to print at that point.
Does this mean anything?
That can mean low on inks. But I think in this case that was just on for no other reason, because we were still in that phase of the printer recognizing that these are not genuine Epson inks, and it wanted to make sure that that's in fact what we wanted to do. It does show you the quantities there, which is fine. We do have other cartridges, and when these older ones run out, when it prints the black only, it does use tiny amounts of this color. Not that we need it, And when we got this printer, we inherited some of these cartridges. So we're using these up until they're gone. Once these are gone, and this big cartridge does hold a lot of ink, but once this is gone, we'll replace this with another one of these. And the same will happen with this. Notice for our black, we have this other brand, and this is a black ink that is made to work with the Epson, but it's more opaque. Because Epson's priority was not making a film positive for screen printing. Epson's priority was making a really great photograph printed, you know, with this. Making a great photograph is not our priority. Our priority is our image area going to be really opaque. So this brand of black ink right here is nice and opaque, which gives us a good quality film positive. So if and when any of these get low, tell an instructor or a shop monitor, and we can replace one of these. There are other problems that come up with this. You know, your first thing is to try turning it off, letting it sit a minute, and then turning it back on. And if something else comes up that you just can't figure out the solution to, you let me know, me or one of the other instructors. The Epson is very finicky, but it's also, you know, I've always been able to figure out how to fix what is going wrong with it. So we've been using it for a few years now, and actually we're quite happy with it.